What if I told you that a girl who made her first cricket bat from old boat wood is now worth more than some millionaire cricketers? This is the shocking story of Cherry-Ann Fraser. And what happened to her will blow your mind. A skinny girl in torn clothes, practicing cricket shots against a dirty concrete wall in one of the poorest neighborhoods in Guyana. The other kids laughed at her. Adults told her to stop dreaming, but this girl had a secret weapon that nobody could see. Today, she's living proof that sometimes the biggest treasures are hidden in the most unlikely places. Cherry-Ann Fraser was born in 1999 in Georgetown, Guyana, where dreams seemed impossible. Her dad worked in dangerous mines, coming home covered in dust every single day. Her mom sold vegetables on the street, counting every penny to buy food for their 4 children. They lived in a tiny house with holes in the roof. When it rained, water poured inside. When the sun was too hot, the metal roof made their home like an oven. But here's where the story gets crazy. While other kids played with toys, Cherry-Ann was obsessed with cricket. She didn't have money for a real bat, so her uncle made one from a piece of wood he found on the beach. It came from an old fishing boat that had crashed during a storm. They wrapped it with black tape to make a handle. It looked terrible, but to Cherry-Ann, it was perfect. Every day after school, she would practice for hours. She hit tennis balls against the concrete wall behind their house until her hands were bleeding. The neighbors complained about the noise. The local boys made fun of her, but she never stopped. Something inside her burned like fire. She knew she was meant for something bigger, even though nobody else believed it. The first time she played with the neighborhood boys, they all started laughing. In their minds, cricket was a man's game. Girls should stay home and help their mothers cook. But when Cherry-Ann picked up her homemade bat and smashed their best bowler's ball over a fence and into the next yard, the laughing stopped. Suddenly, nobody was smiling anymore. But respect in her neighborhood meant nothing in the real world. Guyana barely had money for men's cricket, let alone women's cricket. While boys got proper coaching and equipment, girls like Cherry-Ann had to find their own way. The nearest cricket club was 4 miles from her house. She walked there every day, even in the burning sun or heavy rain. Most days they told her to go away. They didn't have time for girls, so she waited. She sat outside the fence and watched the boys practice. She memorized every drill, every technique, every piece of advice. When nobody was looking, she would sneak onto the field and practice the moves she had seen. The groundskeeper would chase her away, but she always came back. Nothing could stop her hunger to learn. Years passed like this. Cherry-Ann kept practicing with her boatwood bat, kept walking those 4 miles, kept believing when everyone else had given up on her. Her hands grew strong from gripping that rough wooden bat. Her eyes became sharp from watching every ball carefully. Her heart grew tough from being rejected so many times. Then something incredible happened when she turned 16. The Guyana women's team needed a player for an important tournament. One of their regular players got hurt badly. Someone remembered the skinny girl who showed up uninvited to every practice. They called Cherry-Ann the night before the match. She couldn't believe it. After years of being invisible, she finally had her chance. Walking onto that cricket field wearing a real uniform was like stepping into another world. Her hands were shaking as she put on gear that actually fit properly. But the moment she stepped onto the grass, everything felt right. This was where she belonged. The girl who had practiced against concrete walls suddenly felt like she was home. Her first match wasn't perfect. She scored 34 runs and took 2 wickets. For most people, these would be ordinary numbers. But for Cherry-Ann, they represented everything. Every hour of practice, every mile walked, every time someone told her no. Those numbers were proof that dreams could come true, even for poor girls from Georgetown. In the crowd that day sat a scout from the West Indies cricket team. He had come to watch someone else, but he couldn't take his eyes off this unknown girl. After the match, he approached Cherry-Ann's parents. The conversation was short, but it changed everything. At 17 years old, Cherry-Ann Fraser was invited to join the West Indies development program. Leaving home was the hardest thing she had ever done. The training facility in Barbados felt like a different planet. Her teammates arrived with expensive bags full of professional equipment. Cherry-Ann showed up with her old gear in a plastic bag. While they talked about private coaches and overseas training, she quietly unpacked her boatwood bat. Some of the girls whispered and pointed. They had never seen anything like it. The gap between Cherry-Ann and her teammates seemed huge. They had been coached since childhood by professionals. She had learned everything by watching through fences. They had perfect techniques taught in expensive academies. Her style was rough, created on dirty streets and concrete walls. For the first few weeks, she felt completely lost. The coaches worked hard to fix her techniques. They changed her bowling action, adjusted her batting stance, and taught her proper wicket-keeping skills. Some days, Cherry-Ann felt like giving up. The other girls made everything look easy while she struggled with basics. She would call her mother crying, saying she wasn't good enough and wanted to come home. But her mother always said the same thing. Remember the little girl who practiced until her hands bled? That girl never gave up. Don't start now. Slowly, things began to change. Cherry-Ann's raw talent started to shine through. While other players relaxed after practice, she stayed behind working on her weaknesses. While they slept late on weekends, she was in the gym getting stronger. Her coaches noticed that she never complained, never made excuses, and never stopped trying to improve. More importantly, they saw her leadership qualities. When the team was under pressure, Cherry-Ann stayed calm. When younger players felt nervous, she encouraged them. When things went wrong, she found solutions. These qualities don't come from coaching. They come from surviving real hardship. In 2019, at age 20, Cherry-Ann received the call that changed her life forever. She was selected for the West Indies senior team. Standing in the dressing room wearing the maroon jersey she had dreamed about since childhood, she thought about her journey. From a girl hitting tennis balls against a concrete wall to representing her country, it seemed impossible, but here she was. Her first international match was against Australia, one of the best teams in the world. Cherry-Ann was so nervous she could barely sleep the night before. When her turn came to bat, she walked to the middle feeling like her legs might collapse. The Australian bowlers were faster than anything she had faced. Her first ball was perfect, but she missed it completely. She was out for 0 runs. The disappointment felt like a knife in her chest. But disappointment was an old friend by now. Cherry-Ann had been knocked down before and always gotten back up. Instead of feeling sorry for herself, she used that failure as fuel. By her 3rd international match, she scored her first 50 runs. By her 10th match, she had taken 5 wickets in a single game. The girl who once felt out of place was becoming a star. However, success on the field didn't solve all her problems. Women's cricket doesn't pay like men's cricket. Even as an international player, Cherry-Ann had to work part-time jobs to pay her bills and send money home to her family. She worked at a sports store in Bridgetown, selling cricket equipment to customers who had no idea they were talking to a West Indies player. The irony was painful, selling gear she couldn't afford as a child. The real turning point came in 2023 during a series against England. The West Indies had lost the first 2 matches badly, and Cherry-Ann wasn't playing well either. People started saying she might be dropped from the team. The night before the final match, she sat alone thinking about quitting. Maybe she had reached her limit. Maybe the dream was over. But morning brought new clarity. Cherry-Ann realized that her value wasn't just about statistics. She represented hope for every poor kid who dared to dream big. In that final match, she played with freedom and joy she hadn't felt in months. She scored 87 runs without getting out and took 4 wickets to help her team win. More importantly, she remembered why she loved cricket. In 2024, Cherry-Ann was selected for the Indian Premier League, the biggest women's cricket tournament in the world. This was huge, not just for money, but for her career. Playing with and against the world's best players would make her even better. The facilities were incredible, the coaching was world-class, and the pressure was intense. The experience transformed her completely. She learned from international stars, trained with the best equipment, and gained confidence she never knew she had. When she returned to West Indies cricket, everyone could see the difference. She was calmer, more skilled, and ready to lead others. 25 brought her biggest test yet. As vice-captain, Cherry-Ann had to help the West Indies qualify for the Cricket World Cup. The pressure was enormous. Failure meant missing cricket's biggest tournament. But pressure was something she understood better than anyone. In the qualifying tournament in Pakistan, she was outstanding. When the top batters failed, she scored runs. When partnerships were building, she took wickets. When the team needed leadership, she provided it. The West Indies qualified for the World Cup, and Cherry-Ann had played a crucial role. Today, as she prepares for her first World Cup, Cherry-Ann Fraser's story represents something amazing. The girl who carved her first bat from boatwood now plays with the best equipment money can buy. The teenager who walked 4 miles to watch practice uninvited now leads training sessions for her country. But success hasn't changed who she is. She still calls her mother after every match. She still remembers her humble beginning. She started a small foundation that gives cricket equipment to poor children, knowing how much a simple bat and ball can change a life. Her story isn't about becoming rich with money. Women's cricket doesn't create millionaires. Cherry-Ann Fraser's fortune is measured differently. It's the respect of her teammates, the love of her family, the dreams she has inspired in others, and the knowledge that she used every bit of her potential. The concrete wall where she first practiced still stands in Georgetown. The local cricket club put up a small sign that reads, "Where dreams begin." Children still practice there with makeshift equipment, carrying the same hopes Cherry-Ann once held. Her hidden fortune was never buried treasure or secret money. It was always inside her, the strength to keep trying when others quit, the courage to dream when others said it was impossible, and the heart to inspire others to chase their own dreams. Cherry-Ann Fraser proves that the greatest wealth isn't counted in dollars. It's measured in lives changed, barriers broken, and dreams achieved against all odds. Her fortune shines brighter than any gold, and her story continues to inspire anyone who has ever been told their dreams are too big for their circumstances.